Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The World We Share, a global conversation. I am Dr. Barrett Matthews, along with my talented and gifted co-host, Dr. Natalie Forrest. Natalie, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm good. And I'm looking forward to the next conversation because I think that's on the mind of a lot of people these days.
Ooh. Well, for those of you, if it's your first time here for The World We Share, what we talk about here today, on every episode actually, is what's going on in the world. What's going on in the world, because it is the world that we share. And we have to learn to share it a little bit better. And Natalie and I put this together because we think that we can talk about some subjects, and it's a global conversation, and maybe come to an understanding of how we can work together and do things together as human beings on this earth. So, Natalie, what are we talking about today?
Oh, today we're going to talk about food.
Food? I like food.
Me too. And when we're talking about food, the first few episodes, and from time to time we do big topics, and there's a reason for that, because there are all these subtopics that we can come up with, and at the same time that we can come up with them, we'd like you to help us out. So thanks to everybody who already posted in the LinkedIn group and on YouTube. We're collecting all those ideas, and yes, subtopics will come up. Right now we're just scratching the surface.
Oh yeah. And just so you know, guys, before we get started, The World We Share is brought to us by Media Boss Pro. Media Boss Pro, if you actually want to drive your competitors crazy in business by using media to do so, you definitely want to contact Media Boss Pro so they can take care of your media needs and make sure you are more visible and more profitable. So Dr. Natalie, take it away.
Take it away. Okay. Food. Now that's a huge topic. And obviously we can take it in a variety of directions. And I would like to focus on food as, what are we eating? And why has food become such a contested issue? So as an example, when we go to restaurants, there are often conversations. Do you have vegan? Do you have pescatarian? Do you have vegetarian? Do you have no gluten? Do you have something without the salt? Oh, I have an onion allergy. Oh, I have this. All of those things, of course, are legitimate. And yet, is one really better than the other? What I mean by that is, when you have an allergy, you have an allergy. And even that deserves debate, because I know some people who have allergies, for example, gluten, in the US, and when they go someplace else, they don't have it. I don't know how that works.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah, firsthand experience, the same with lactose. So very interesting. Really? However, when we're thinking about food, there is a move right now to say vegan.
Yeah.
2023, vegan. We all should be eating vegan. Organic. Well, I like organic, but yes, within limits, We'll
talk about it.
Things to consider. And so what happens if we all go vegan? I saw a commercial the other day, and Germany, okay, it was a commercial, and the family was eating, and somehow everything they were eating was made out of peas. Yes, they're like, oh, this is all made out of peas. See, it tastes really good. We're not killing any animals. And in comes the pea. Okay, what? It's not made out of meat. I'm not saying that a pea has emotions like an animal.
Yeah.
Okay, so food, I think, is a huge issue.
And it's interesting because, and it's funny, when you said to me you want to talk about food, I honestly thought you were talking about like a food shortage and stuff like that. But I know. But this is an interesting topic, because I actually have friends who are vegan. I have friends who eat only organic, and it's funny because I also have friends who, and I'm sure you do too, who claim vegan, who claim organic, until there's something else that they like that is not either. So then, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking a break from it right now. But so it's like,
Yeah.
anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, and I want to talk about organic.
Okay.
Some of the things that are said to be organic are not. And they are labeled that way just to get you to buy it and eat it. And it's just something that I've noticed. And you know, we've all seen some of the reports on some of the things that have been mislabeled just to get people to buy things. And then we talk about vegan. I always tell people I had a beef with some vegans. I had no pun intended. But the thing is, we used to have a joke with a friend of mine. I said, look, if you don't like eating our food, name it your own food. Don't call it vegan chicken. Don't call it vegan macaroni and cheese. If you don't want macaroni and cheese, call it something else. Don't take our name if you don't want our food.
You know, that, and I know sometimes we have to bring this up, and I'm bringing it up on purpose because we're not just having people in the US watch this. We're global. It's a global conversation. So for example, organic food. There are different standards in the US than in Germany, than in other countries.
Yeah.
And since you mentioned label it differently, in the US, you can buy soy milk. It's not milk. It's not milk.
It's not. Right.
Okay.
Right.
So in Germany, you cannot say soy milk. You have to say soy juice.
See, that makes sense because almond milk, you can't get milk from an almond. You can squeeze all you want. You're not going to get milk from an almond.
Yes. Go ahead. Sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you. I don't mean to interrupt you.
That's a very accurate point. But as you talk about like how people can have different reactions to things that they're allergic to, that's something that amazes me. I mean, let's face it. I mean, I know you're only like 25, but
he's doing that on purpose.
But for me, yeah, I like you and I want you to like me. So, but the thing is, when I was young, I don't remember all of these allergies from people.
Nope.
And it's crazy. And I'm thinking, what have they been feeding people to make us not only get these allergies, but to pass them on to our children?
Yeah.
Because these children are coming out. I have a friend and her daughter, God bless her. I love her dearly. That kid has been allergic to it. I mean, I could at least name 5 or 6 things she's been allergic to and still is. And she's like 16, 17 now. And she's still allergic to a lot of things. And every restaurant you have to go to, you have to talk to the chef.
Yes.
Because you have to make sure that it's safe for her to eat because you don't want to be having to go to the hospital. And it's just, it's crazy, all these allergies. It just, I don't get it. I don't get. I mean, remember being able to get on an airplane and eat peanuts?
Yes, I do.
I mean, it's like I actually used to look forward
to
myself Coca-Cola and some peanuts and just.
And but then they started doing like the roasted honey peanuts. I never liked those.
So. I like honey peanuts, but now it's pretzels, and I'm like, I don't want pretzels.
But even the pretzels, if we're really and by the way, just to everybody listening, we're not making fun of you if you're having allergies.
Oh no,
okay?
not at all.
We fully understand. It's just as Barrett was pointing out, there are so many more now, and I want to preface that we think there are that many more. Maybe they've always been there.
Yeah.
Hypothetically.
Yeah.
I don't think they have, but hypothetically, if they've always been there, we haven't paid attention as much. So, if you eat something and you have to let go of it, release the food afterwards. Okay. Then we used to say, okay, something you ate was bad. And now the reaction is no longer, oh, something you ate is bad. It's like, oh my God. What did you eat? Do you have an allergy against it?
Yeah, and see, to me, Natalie, it and like you said, we're not trying to insult what people are going through. It's to me, a bigger question to me is, what are they putting in the food now? What is it that is called? Because I mean, I get it. Some people who are watching or listening right now, you were born with the allergy, But
Mm-hmm.
our point is that years ago, people weren't born with these allergies. So something changed.
Yeah.
That means something changed. And the main thing I can think that changed is what they're putting in the food
Yes.
that gets like permeates our system to the point where we pass it on to our children, which is why people are born with these allergies. And it boggles my mind as to what could they possibly be putting in, because I mean, like I said, I went through public schools, ran into a whole lot
Mm-hmm.
of children. Maybe one, maybe two had like food allergies and stuff like that. Like
Right.
I was born allergic to milk,
Mm-hmm.
cow's milk. So I was, on the formula when I was a baby.
Right.
I can drink milk now. I don't want to, but I can drink milk now, and that's
Yeah.
another thing. And then just like my friend's daughter, she outgrew some of her allergies. Um, and I don't know how that works, but she outgrew some of the allergies, and just as I outgrew the allergy to milk. I mean, I guess I was a
Mm-hmm.
baby, so I couldn't deal with it, but now as I grew, I could
Right.
withstand my immune system. But the thing is, I don't understand how so many of these allergies came to be, and what the heck
Mm-hmm.
they put into the food to
Yeah.
cause all this.
I think that's a huge thing, and it's interesting, the way we handle things differently from country to country, from culture to culture.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. And maybe there are some genetic variations, even though we all have the same genes,
Yeah, yeah,
wake up
yeah,
call, we
yeah,
all have the same genes. But there is something that if you go to the grocery store, you buy a package of meat. Well, number one, you buy a package of meat.
yeah.
And right then and there, it says, lasts for 4 weeks. I don't know a meat that lasts for 4 weeks. I
Hmm.
mean, if I cook something fresh, number one, we eat it, but number
Yeah,
two,
right.
it won't last that long. Even if
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
the turkey left over, you need to freeze it or something
Conservatives
like
and all
that.
that. Yeah,
So what is in there that it lasts for a month, right? And then you
yeah,
go over and you try and buy the fresh meat, this sandwich meat is what it's called in the US,
yeah,
and they cut it, and thank heavens, it doesn't last for a month, but it lasts for 2.5 weeks. I'm
yeah,
sorry. Even
yeah.
that to me is not logical. So there's something in there.
Yeah, good point. That's an excellent point. I mean, very excellent point. And it just makes you wonder what they're doing. I mean, I know there have been documentaries about these things that they're
Yes.
doing, and it also makes me wonder, like you live in Europe, I live in the United States, and like, do they have the same allergies there that they have here? Do they have the same allergies? Check this out, in Asia and Africa, that they
Yes.
have here. You know, we're
Right.
we're always critical of going to other countries because we may catch disease.
Mm-hmm.
These people are eating a lot healthier than us.
Well, some do, others
Yeah,
don't. But it's
yeah.
also, I think it's a good point because if we're just thinking about going on vacation, right? So if we go on vacation, let's say to Mexico or to Thailand, the
Mm-hmm.
food is different, it's prepared different. What usually happens the first day, if not if you're in a five-star hotel, but if you're in a regular town where you eat with the
Mm-hmm.
regular people, what happens to your body initially when you eat it?
Yeah, yeah.
It usually doesn't feel so good. It's like,
Doesn't feel good
whoa,
because
it's
your
too
body's
greasy.
not used
Whoa, it's
to
too
real
spicy.
food.
Yes. And then after a while, you get used to it.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
then you can't go back.
yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, that, and since you mentioned, one of my peeve issues, yes,
Okay.
okay, sugar. And
Oh,
now in general, I like sugar. Don't get me wrong, I like sugar.
I do too.
However, sorry, especially in the US,
Especially.
there is sugar in the bread. Okay? And not just a little bit,
Yeah.
not just a pinch.
Oh yeah.
No, you have like 23 grams of sugar in a loaf of bread.
And processed sugar.
Yes, of course. And
Mm-hmm.
so, when you're saying what is in these foods, it's like, what is in the foods and what's the ultimate goal by putting this in the food?
Well. Okay, that's a totally different topic right there. Good. And I guess just what's the goal by whom? Um,
Yes, of course.
because there are some parties who want these things in the food to
Of
make you
course.
sick.
Yeah.
can make you
And
sick.
others who want you to get addicted to sugar or to
Exactly.
whatever. Yes, of
And so you
course.
keep buying it. And
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's, oh yeah. I mean, there's a larger agenda than what we're talking about right now.
Well, and you know, and on the other hand, you know, you can also try and look at it maybe positively.
Mhm.
Everybody's so busy, and in some countries it's hard to get to the supermarket or to
Mhm.
make time to go to the supermarket. So therefore, it's supposed to last longer. So there might be some
Oh
logic,
yeah,
some
yeah.
reason
Well,
behind it.
and I assume that was the original
Yeah.
reason for. I mean, they call it preservatives.
Right.
So
Yes.
I guess that's the reason for it, to preserve it, so that it will last longer.
Yeah.
But it's like anything that you inject into a system, there can be side effects,
Mm-hmm.
and our body is not meant for preservatives. So
Really?
really. So therefore we have health issues, we have
Yeah.
cancer, we have all types of things that come from the food we eat. We have these allergies because our
Mm-hmm.
body is not used to it, it's not ready for it. And don't, like you said, you like sugar, I like sugar. Do I eat right all the time? Heck no. Not by any stretch do I eat right all the time.
Huh.
And I need to do better. I shall do better. I try to surround myself with people like Natalie who eat better. But it's one of those things that I am aware of. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the first step. It's just being aware
Yes.
of what's going on, and you know what's going on with the food, and where we're going with it. So wow, that was a great topic. I really enjoyed that topic. Thank you for that, Natalie. I appreciate that.
Of course.
You know,
Anytime. You know, we'll talk more about food in the future, I'm sure.
yes,
Because I'm not done yet.
yeah, I know. I know we got a lot more to talk about. Now,
Yeah.
guys, guess what? It's almost time, just about time for the spotlight of the day. Just about time. Why is it just about time? Because we're going to take a break. We want you to stay right where you are. And when we come back, Dr. Natalie is going to bring us our spotlight of the day. So stay right there. Let's face it, you've been talking about starting a podcast for quite some time, but you haven't started yet. Why is that? Could it be that you just don't have the time because your day-to-day keeps you so busy? Or could it be that you don't want to learn all the technical aspects that go into putting together a quality podcast? Well, at Media Boss Club, we take care of that for you. How would you like to have a done-for-you experience? That's right. At Media Boss Club, we build your podcast for you. We will edit your podcast. We will put in the music for you. We even put in commercial breaks that you can put your advertisers in. We will take care of all of the uploading to the great podcast platforms that are out there. That's right, we do everything. All you have to do is just right now go to MediaBossClub.com. That's MediaBossClub.com, and let us handle the heavy lifting for you. All right, everybody, welcome back to The World We Share, a global conversation. I'm Dr. Barrett Matthews, along with my talented and gifted co-host, Dr. Natalie Forrest. Natalie, it is time for our spotlight of the day.
I know. And the spotlight of the day for me, going controversial, is hurricane.
Ooh. Ooh.
Now, I don't mean the drink. Sorry. I don't mean the drink. I actually mean hurricanes. And the reason why it's the spotlight of the day for me, it's not necessarily fun or happy, but hurricanes have increased. And we've even had hurricanes more now in Europe. And, in different parts of the world, they have different titles. And so I happen to live in Hamburg, and, we have a lot of strong wind. Even when I used to live in Maryland, the Baltimore region, there was wind, there was flooding, there were hurricanes, not directly, usually they're more in the south. So I think hurricanes really deserve the spotlight because it's the force of nature, how we react to it, and what we experience. And we've just had, last week, flooding of our harbor, some of the harbor areas again, and which is normal, we're prepared for it, so no big deal. But there is something about the force of the wind, the power, and the water So I figured this would be a great spotlight given, the time of year and my own experiences walking around the harbor or walking along the River Elbe and, getting the wind in your face. What is your experience? So
Well,
I invite everybody to share, right? And Barrett's going to share his experience. I hope he was not hunting hurricanes. There are also movies about it.
It's interesting, kind of was in a way, because I've done work as an insurance public adjuster where I represent people who had property damage from hurricanes.
Oh, okay.
So I've had to deal with. I mean, I remember. I'm sure you were actually in Maryland in Hurricane Irene.
Oh, yeah.
When Hurricane Irene hit, it was a lot of damage.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
I stayed busy night and day with that because it caused a lot of damage to a lot of people's homes. So I was helping them make sure they got proper settlements from their insurance. But it's kind of interesting. I heard well, it wasn't a comedian. It was a radio show, morning radio show.
Right.
And he made a joke, and it was kind of funny because he said they were doing a segment called "How Do It Know," and it was saying, "How do hurricanes know to hit land on the weekend?" And it was funny because I thought about it. I said, that is so true. People prepare, and then you see these cars, especially in the U.S. You see the cars lined up on the highway. It's always hitting on Friday.
I have to research that if that's really true. That's interesting. I never thought about that.
It was just so funny when he said it. I said, that is true. I said, they hit on the weekend.
Oh. So everybody listening, hurricanes can be fun to watch. We see the news anchors, and we make fun of the news anchors who are going to get swept away.
Yeah, because
they're also devastating.
And the people that go surfing. And
yes, that's just, I'm not going to, but they can also be devastating, deaths, destruction. You just mentioned it, insurance. So there's a lot. Everybody who's listening now, later, watching now, later, YouTube, LinkedIn, if it's on the radio, share your experience about hurricanes.
Love to see
and
about
also,
that.
And also, let us know what other topics you'd like to see.
Yes.
Because we'll pick it up.
We sure will. Because this is a global conversation. So everyone, we want to thank you for joining us today on The World We Share, a global conversation. I am Dr. Barrett Matthews, along with my lovely, talented, and gifted co-host, Dr. Natalie Forrest. We will see you guys next time. So be nice to one another.
Farewell.